podcast.
Bring your friends.
Okay, let's start.
And we're live.
We're here.
live.
We're here.
Eric, myself, and the return of the amazing Mr. Larry Hankin.
Yes.
Yeah, hi folks. How you doing?
Hello.
Where have you been? You folks out there. Where have you been? I've been here the whole time. Yeah.
We've been here too.
Yeah. So I don't know where they went. I don't know. But okay, everything is okay here. You can see there's sunshine out
I can see everything.
outside there. So
It's pretty nice in
we're
Cali.
for now. Well, for now, but then if you're in the deserts, it's like 125. So I mean,
Ooh.
it depends. And then north there's fires, and it's I warned everybody about this 10 years ago. I have no shame. I'm okay. I warned you all. I said 10 years ago it's coming. You know, global warming is coming, but nobody listened.
So you knew Trump was going to get elected.
Oh my God.
So
Yeah, I kind of no. But I warned you. I warned you. I told you. I said this is not going to work out. I said. I remember. We had it down, I think, on a wall somewhere here.
Was that the problem,
Anyway,
Larry?
good luck.
Was that the problem? That was the problem we had, was global warming that was coming?
Well, it was everything I said 10 years ago has come true.
Damn.
I'm sorry to say.
I'm going to call you
I'm
Walter
sorry to say.
Mercado.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I said this in 65. I said this. In 1965, I said, this hippie stuff is not going to end well. That's what I said.
Oh, wow.
And it's come
What made
true.
you say that? But what made you say
No,
that?
because I saw that everybody, all my hippie friends, were getting married and having children. So then they were opting out. So I thought, well, if you're having kids, then you're not going to be able to do anything for another 18 years, you know, until your kids get out of college. And the kids that are getting out of college right now have no idea of what went on in the 60s. That's like Cro-Magnon days. That's like, you know, 1960 is like, it might as well be 1860 or 1560 for all people today know. So I saw, you know, say that again.
You had to have a camera in the 60s. You couldn't use your phone.
Oh, there was no phone in this.
Yeah.
It was what do you call landlines, and
Yeah.
there was no internet, so you couldn't even spread the word. You couldn't even curse me out on the internet.
See, I grew up in the generation when Xbox when the Xbox system for online started coming and people were playing a lot of Call of Duty and saying shit. That's what I'm terrified of. I'm not scared of someone finding my phone, whatever. Go through it. What I'm terrified of someone going, Mr. Aviles, we have your Call of Duty Modern Warfare conversations from 2010. I'd be like, oh shit, I'm done. 100% I'm done. You know the fucked up shit I said to people, Larry?
Well, I can find it if you want me to boot it up. I can get it right now.
I thought we were friends, Larry. I thought we were friends.
Well, hey man, friends ends at the computer. It's as long as I can type something and there's social networks, you're dead, man. No, nothing goes away. Everything I've ever done that was filmed or videoed is you can boot it up. Fans have sent me stuff that I did. Well, you know, like when almost like I was 15 or something. No, like when I did stuff in the 60s, I have stuff sent to me from stuff I did in the 60s, and there was no internet in the 60s, but it's on the internet now. You can go onto YouTube and find it. It's amazing. Nothing dies. Nothing is gone. If you did something from here on in, you know, from here on in, if you do something and it's some sort of digital device records it, voice or video, it's there forever. It's now forever. That's what's going on. Let me clarify that one thing. Yeah. It's there forever until I would give us. I think I got 150 years.
Really?
And then it's 150 years, and then no more electricity, no
Oh,
more,
I'll be
no
dead.
more
Hopefully.
refrigerator, no more internet. Well, yeah, me too. So it's cool. But your kids are going to have like I think they're going to have to do it a different way. That
Yeah, live in a cave.
that's the best I can say. The different way,
Live in a
Well, we
cave.
come from homeless. You're right.
Ida had it right.
And what is it in the Stone Age? They lived in
Yeah.
caves, and that's what we're going to go back to.
Kind of like
We're from homeless, and we're going to go back to homeless.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Okay, so let's go on with the show now. Now that we've brought everybody down with laughs, let's go on with the meat of the show. Well, the important stuff. What we got to talk about.
Well, you're here, man.
You're here.
That's the most.
Did you get? By the way, did you get my paintings? Did you ever
Yes.
receive those?
Yes, I did.
okay.
Yes, I did. Yes,
All
I
right.
did. And speaking of your paintings, Larry, last time we had you, we talked about your process to paint. Like you kind of like get inspired, riding a bike, catch a doobie, and then go into the studio. Have you been doing a lot more? Because I try to keep up.
No, I don't know if that was it. If I said that the last time, how I create, I guess it changes because I don't. I was thinking about. I sent them paintings. I'm gonna have to talk about this and what my inspiration is. So I thought about it. Like what inspired me, and I figured out. Now this is recently. I mean, the last year or two. That there has to be something about what I'm looking at that catches my curiosity or my eye. So it's not a thing, it's part of a thing. Like I was talking about, and maybe I was talking about to you guys, like if I was going to draw, if I do a painting of a boat, I wasn't inspired. I would bet that I wasn't inspired by the boat, but I would be inspired by the gunwales of the boat. A gunwale of the boat. I don't know. Do you know what the gunwale is of a boat?
Yes.
That curve of the top of the side, how it goes from the bow and it curves around to the back. That line. Of it. What?
The symmetry.
The symmetry is what attracts you.
The symmetry of that line, how the beauty of that line, and that's on a gunwale, so I have to paint the whole boat. But what really inspired me was that line. I just want to see if I can capture it. I was folding my hands the other day. What was I doing? I was doing something like, I don't know, something like that. You see the line that goes.
Yeah.
I can't point in. Okay. Well, I had my hands folded and I was looking at the line that it makes, the curve of the inside of my hand made on my other hand. So I wanted to draw that line, but so that I could draw the rest of the hand and it would look real, like that's what I was doing. I was clasping my hand.
Yeah.
But the important part of the drawing was the meaning of one to the other, that line that it made. And then everything that I like, those paintings.
Yeah.
Okay. Like the hood right there. I was curious about getting the line from the top of the head to the bottom of the foot. I wanted to get that line. Okay. But make it real so it looked like it's a foot, it's his ass, it's his back, and then it's his head. So it wasn't just a line. It had to be real and fit into the painting. So that I had to make a painting to make sure that I had the line right. So and I guess every artist has a different way of looking at things. I just got that idea from looking at some of Picasso's drawings and of the old guys. Like Leonardo and Michelangelo. I look at when I go to museums. Some museums have their drawings. The original drawings of these guys. And then they have one or two. I guess they're so expensive and so rare. Some museums don't have any. But when I do go and I see like a real Leonardo or Michelangelo's drawing,
Mhm.
And I look at, and you can find it in there. I'll look for, okay, what was the first line that he put on the paper? That's what I look for. So, okay, how did he start this? Where did he start? What? And generally, you start with a line. You go, and it's a line you pick out by eye. You go, oh, all right, I'll do the curve of the back like that. And then you start to fill in around it, But it all comes back to, was that line accurate? Because that makes everything else, you have to adjust to that. So that's where I get the idea, but you can get the idea from anywhere. Like Brancusi, I don't know if you know Brancusi, the statue, bird in flight. Well, it's not a bird.
The bird in flight. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's gold. It's a gold. I think it's not real gold. I mean, it's probably copper or whatever. I don't know, but it's colored gold. Looks like gold. But basically, it's just a statue of an object, of a thing that goes like that.
Yeah.
Okay, and he named it Bird in Flight. Now you go, it doesn't look like a fucking bird at all. I remember the first time I saw it when I was a kid. There's a bird. What is he talking about? No, but it's a bird maybe taken off. It's the flight of the bird, the line of the takeoff or whatever. So yeah, you find it wherever, and you look at something and the top of a garbage can, even, it's just anything. I don't know. So that's where it comes from. But you can probably find a painting of mine and you say, all right, where'd you start this? And I go, oh, I didn't think of it that way. I thought of it a different way. Maybe it was a color that I had to capture.
Oh, okay.
I think
remember you told us about the girl with the backpack. That's how you drew that one.
Yeah.
Oh, it was well, did we talk about that? No. So what did I say about that? Did I just contradict myself? I know.
No,
it was maybe the backpack. I just wanted to capture the way she was standing. I remember the painting, and I remember seeing it. I was in a coffee house.
Yep.
I was in a Starbucks, and I was looking out the window. I was sitting at a window seat looking out, and I was looking out at a bus stop. And then. This girl, that girl came and she started to wait for the bus, and then she just, switched from, you can see her hips shift as she shifted her weight. So I wanted to get that shift in the weight. That's what made me draw her, the weight thing. I wanted to make sure that the weight of the picture of the drawing was on the right foot. Not right, left, but the correct foot. The way that when you looked at the drawing, you could see, oh, the weight of her body is on the left foot, and all the rest of this stuff. So there was a balance. In other words, that left foot then had to be in the center of balance of the drawing of the body. If her left foot was out here and her head was over here, she'd fall over. So the drawing had to be anatomically correct. The weight of it. So that's, it's all that kind of stuff goes through your head at 1,000,000 miles a second while you're drawing. But that's where it comes from. So you have to have some sort of inspiration of the object. You can't just say, I'm gonna paint you guys sitting there. That's not enough. There's something about it that turns me on, that I go, wow, the way that his hand, that Rico's hands on it's like his mouth there, the curve of his finger, and then the point of his elbow, and how his head is tilted back. If I could capture that motion, that the bottom of his elbow is further ahead of the tilt of his head, that has to be in the plane of the drawing. You have to look and see, no, his elbow is in front of his head. In the drawing, it can't be back here. So that's the spatial thing that turns me on.
Yeah. So what do you think about what do you think about Picasso? Because you said you've seen some of the drawings of Picasso.
Well, okay, yeah, Picasso, his color and his touch, really, and the balance of the painting. In other words, one of the rules of painting, if you have a canvas, a blank canvas, then the obligation of the painter, and this, you can read this stuff in books, on painting. I don't, because somehow I was born with it or whatever. but I do read it. That if you have a blank canvas, the obligation of you, if you're going to make a painting on that canvas, the unspoken obligation of the painter is to take care of every square millimeter of that painting, of that, what do you call it?
The canvas,
the area, the canvas. In other words, when I look at it, even though, like for instance, on this painting here, the painting is really right here. That see the gray area, and then I don't do much of here, and I didn't do much here, and I didn't do much here. Okay, so I wasn't taking care of that. No, I was very aware that this is empty, and that's empty, and that's empty. And these empty spaces have to be balanced with the drawing that's here and here and here. And even the wallpaper that. So in other words, I was very aware of every square inch of that canvas. Even though I didn't do anything much here, I was taking care of it in that. No, I want that because I need that space. If I fill that space, it would start to get cluttered. Then you don't know where your eye goes. Here, I wanted to have clutter, and I wanted to balance it with the gray of the sidewalk. So in other words, you have to take care of, even if you don't do anything, the painter has to pay attention to it and deal with it. You have to deal with it. You may not want to deal with it, and that's dealing with it. You know, oh no, I don't want to paint the sidewalk because there's too much going on everywhere else. That's why I kept this flat. There's no modeling on this, no modeling on that, no modeling on the shirt. So if you really technically want to look at this painting, I would say half of the painting is busy and half of the painting isn't, right? But I just divided it up. So look, this is no modeling here and no modeling all the way up here. So boom, there and there should equal there and there. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is all craziness, and this is all flat. And that is subconsciously me taking care of every inch of the canvas. So you have to, you know, various things come into play where, like, Picasso doesn't paint. Is it just as important of where he did? When he breaks up a face to break it into different planes. And he said once, he said, you can paint every single button on a coat, but sooner or later, all those buttons on the coat are going to just start flying at you, at the painter. In other words, it's going to make it too crazy. So so that's what gave him the idea. Well, I can bust it up. I'll put a button up here and a button down there. I don't have to put them all on the coat. I mean, it's my canvas, right? I can do whatever the fuck I want. And that was like something new. Nobody ever thought of that before, you know, except, you know, him and his friends, Brock and Picasso and Woody Share and all those guys. Yeah, they started to do that. They, you know, like the Grand Jatte, La Grande Jatte. You know, people sitting in a park looking at the lake, and they're all sitting there. But it's called pointillism. He said, well, why do I have to use a brush to paint broad strokes? Let me make it all dots, and let me see if that works. Boom, and there you have a whole new way of painting. Well, I mean, it's new because I just did it, but they could have done it back, you know, in the caveman days. I mean, you know, they just sprayed some paint around their hand, and that was a painting. Hey, cool, man.
Some caveman that.
Where did you think of that? How did you come up with that? How did you come up with the hand and where did you think? Well, I just put my hand up and I put paint in my mouth and I went, and that's so terrific.
I spit it with T-Rex blood. I had a bad piece of T-Rex, man, and just got inspired.
Yeah. And I just, you know, exploded onto it. And I thought, oh, that looks cool, you know. And then
I can see a critic being born right after that. Maybe like, why didn't you paint?
God.
Why didn't you paint the hand? Why didn't you just paint the hand?
Why did you just?
Yeah, right. Why don't you trace it? Just trace the hand. Little kids do it all the time. My kid does that all the time on a rock. He traces his hand. What's the matter?
Yeah.
I'm so glad that dinosaurs are extinct, though. I
Yeah.
feel like
Right,
me
yeah.
especially, like if dinosaurs were around and I was like in my 20s, like back in the army, bro, I'd be in so much shit. I would be in so much shit.
Yeah, I think we all
Well, no,
would.
you would probably be so awestruck. And that's what I'd be awestruck. I couldn't even run. I'd go, holy cow. And boom.
No, I want to ride one. I want to tame one. I want to walk around with a triceratops on a leash. That's what I want to do.
There's a
Larry.
movie about that. There is right now. Out. It's
Jurassic
out.
Park?
It's
Jurassic Park?
well, Jurassic Park now. It's what they did was I haven't seen the movie. I just saw the coming attractions. But the trope is the trick is that they somehow Jurassic came to the States. It wasn't locked on an island, so then they start-
Oh.
so in the coming attraction, there's a suburban street, and there's a guy walking down the sidewalk with a Tyrannosaurus Rex, a young one. He's only 6 foot high. He's only as tall as the guy walking on a leash, and he's walking him.
I
So
need to go watch
there's
that.
your wish
I need to
right
watch
there.
that.
That is
I
a
mean, we're
poor
too
pet.
late.
You wouldn't want a T-Rex? Who would? Everybody will fuck with a dog. No one will fuck with a T-Rex.
Yeah, the problem is the T-Rex will fuck with you.
No,
too.
you domesticate it.
Uh-huh.
You domesticate it. You wouldn't want
Yeah.
a pet dinosaur, Larry?
No, I don't think so because they have a pea brain. The Tyrannosaurus
Mhm.
Rex had a brain as big as your fist, maybe, or smaller.
Yeah.
But they did know how to bluff.
Mhm.
And I said, well, I'll hang around this guy. I'll do his tricks. I'll jump through the hoop.
When he
I'll let
goes
him put a leash on. And then one day when we're walking along, jump!
Yeah. Exactly.
He fell for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Tiny loves me.
And
If I had a pet
it
dinosaur,
was tasty. I got to give him that.
Tasty.
Herbivore.
Gave me from Puerto Rican.
Well, maybe they were bluffing about being a herbivore. You never know,
Yeah,
man.
you
With dinosaurs, you never know. That's all I got to say.
Well,
You
if it eats
never
rice
know.
if a dinosaur eats rice and beans, I'll feel safe. It's like here. There
Yeah,
you
but
go.
then okay. So then you get your vegetarian, and what will he do? He will step on you.
Yeah, he'll sit on you. What if he
He'll
like
sit on you.
rolls over? Yeah.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, listen, I've had Tyrannosauruses in my life. I'm just telling you. I'm telling you, I know what I'm talking
Like,
about.
I've made enough money. I owned a T-Rex at one point. You do
Yeah,
not want to see those
I'm
poop.
not going to do it again. I owned one. I gave it back. I took it back to the
Pick up their
store
shit.
Yeah.
How would you pick up their poop?
Yeah, that would be a thing.
That's
with a dump truck.
with a dump. Larry, you got a dump truck?
Can you
No,
imagine-
but I used to have a
imagine the-
Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Would
So
you-
Yeah. Can you
I
imagine the
know. I said,
people-
man, if this thing takes a dump, I got to get a truck.
Yeah.
So I took it back to the ASPCA store.
Yeah. Somebody else can adopt it.
Yeah, I mean, let them whatever.
It's a no-kill shelter. So
Oh my god!
Yeah. It's a big shelter, by the way.
I would,
It's huge shelter.
huge.
And they only can keep 10, I think.
Bro,
And that's the limit. We can't take them. We're full. Can't take them. Try
Oh,
down the street. Try down the
we can
street.
do this. We can just grab a state and put all the dinosaurs there. Montana. What the fuck is in Montana?
Well,
Right.
I
Well,
was thinking that you could have that shelter and a restaurant next to it, because who would not want a T-Rex steak? That's all I'm saying.
No.
T-Rex steak. Yeah, but who's going to?
That would be
Okay,
like a
who's
raptor appetizer,
No.
who's going to euthanize? Who's going to start that?
That's what the
steak?
shelter's for.
That's
You
what
just-
No, you got to go to a meat packing place, don't you? You have to go to a ranch with a club and hit them as they come through the chute. Just bonk, and you have to have big chute. It's a problem. I mean, talk about the hurricane down in Florida, euthanizing T-Rexes are even a bigger problem. I mean, let me
I
tell you,
would think so, especially in a hurricane.
especially in a hurricane. So
Yeah.
there's probably no T-Rexes in Florida at the moment. I think. You think they
No,
would have
but
enough
Category
sense?
4? Is it a category 4, I think?
I think
Yeah, it is. It's
three.
a
They
close to
switched it
category
over.
5.
Close to-
155 miles an hour.
Yeah, once it reaches
157 is 5 miles. Is a
so
5.
it's probably
category
moving
5.
at less than 15 miles an hour too.
It's
Yeah.
moving at 3 to 4 miles an hour. And I give you this
Jesus.
because right before I came on, I was watching. So that's the latest. 3 or
Oh.
4 miles an hour, as fast as a
It is
human
going
being can
slow.
walk. That's how slow it is.
So it's
But
just
you could outwalk it. You like
you could
You can. You can outrun it. You can outrun it. You can
outrun it.
outrun
You
it.
can outrun it, not
I
walk.
agree with
run.
Larry. You
can
can outrun
it.
it.
You can
can't
outrun
fucking
it.
outwalk it.
Yeah.
It's gonna suck you the fuck in.
No, you can outrun it for until you get like a little tired, a little winded. It's gaining, it's gaining. Come on, come on, No, it's they got Rick. They got Rico.
They
They
won't
got
get me,
Rico.
bro. I'll have my pet T-Rex. I'll ride my pet T-Rex out.
Well, yeah. Well, I think
haven't
we
brought it
flogged
forward
that to
before you get
death. You guys have any more topics? Or can I go home?
Oh god. Larry, last time we had you, you had said something that shocked me a little bit. It was
Uh-oh.
where you got the inspiration for Mr. Heckles.
Yeah.
It was a movie. I was so shocked what you say that I didn't ask you this follow-up question, which
Right.
was how did you prepare for the role? Like were you in your head going, no, say it like this, or was it spontaneous?
Well, I think if I recall, because there's only one person who I ever got an old guy from, and I think it was Mr. Heckles. There wasn't another guy. Did you see, what was it, the Dustin Hoffman movie?
The Graduate.
The Graduate, exactly.
Yeah. That's where you
Okay.
got it. Yeah.
Right. So at the end of the movie, when his girlfriend, who he's going to marry, is at college and she's living in
The dorm.
not a dorm, but it was like a private house dorm, right?
Yeah.
Because there was a landlord. There was a landlord. And
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Dustin Hoffman had to get by the landlord. Are you a rebel? He kept on accusing the guy.
Yeah, he kept
Okay,
pointing.
so that landlord. So are you a rebel? Okay, that actor has done that kind of character. He worked a lot all through my life. I would see him in different things, but he always played the same kind of guy. That's where I got Mr. Heckles from. That attitude. He was very deadpan but grumpy. A deadpan grumpy was that guy's tour de force.
He played Mr. Roper on Three's Company, I believe.
Yeah, so it was kind of the same kind of landlord, I think, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, so that's where I got Mr. Heckles from. But I know, so I didn't prepare at all, except to focus on, because I saw The Graduate a couple of times, so I focused on that actor. I didn't watch him to get it. I just remembered and said that's Mr. Heckles, and I just did my version. So it wasn't a complete, like when I did Kramer. No, that was a lift. That was I watched Michael Richards doing that scene that I did.
Yeah.
I gotta confess something, Larry.
Yeah.
I gotta confess something to you on a serious note. I recently just saw Seinfeld, within the last 2 years.
Oh, that's not recent. I mean, I get people who watched it yesterday.
Oh,
right after I watched you.
I did not know you were in it until we had you the first time, and I was watching it.
Yeah.
And I saw you, and I was like, "Oh my God, that is Larry!" What the fuck? I didn't know.
Yeah. So that was a complete lift. I mean, I just watched that scene that I finally did as to imitate him. But I watched that scene maybe 1,000 times. I just ran it over and over and over again until I got every move and muscle down.
Yeah.
I just imitated. That was a carbon copy. So that's that. That's not Mr. Heckles. Mr. Heckles was like a sort of suggestion of kind of like that guy, you know. But then I just did it, you know, boom. Because I come from improv. And improv, you just get a suggestion from an audience and you got to go. So there's no rehearsal. There's just, you know, do a doctor and you're a doctor. Do a bus driver, you're a bus driver. You know, it's just instant. And that's how I did that.
My favorite part was whenever George is talking to you, goes like, you took the raisins, you didn't take the raisins, whatever, you know. And you're like,
Larry, I'm gonna be
I'm
honest.
just looking at him like,
you
I will
actually-
kill you.
Yeah, you've actually like we've had you a few times, and one of the things I love about you is how chill you are.
Yeah.
I would never want to see you pissed off, but when I saw you in that scene, I
Oh.
was like, oh, I believe that. I
Yeah.
think he means it. I think he fucking means
Oh,
it.
but that I mean, yeah. When I attempt to get really angry, I
Mhm.
remember that acting rule, and I do that because as an actor, if you want to be really angry, you just get very chill, man,
Yep.
and you fucking mean it.
Damn it, Larry. He was so scared.
Hey,
Hilarious. I was like, bro, I think he's gonna kill that guy. Like,
Yeah, I think you can.
I think Larry has
This is
skeletons
George's
in
last
his
show.
house.
Yeah.
Like,
you get steely. You get like a little. You know, where you ever play marbles? Is that in your bailiwick
oh
of
yeah, I
childhood
grew up playing.
memory?
Yeah.
Okay,
We call that
Steely's,
canica in
man. You
Puerto
know,
Rico.
Steely's. They were basically ball bearings.
Yeah.
That's what they were. Well, you get steely. I mean, when you get really angry, like you ever watch? Well, there's a lot of things you could watch, but Ridiculousness. That show, Ridiculousness.
Mhm.
Okay, every once in a while they'll show you some fight. They love, you know, things where people get hurt. That's the hurt show, the pain show. So,
Yeah.
like, you know, you see somebody get really, and then you'll be talking to a guy, and the reason they're showing you this is that guy A is going to clock guy B, and guy B will not see it coming. That's why and the guy says, you know, hey, watch this. See, he's getting really cool. He's getting calm now, and he's going to clock this guy, and he doesn't even see it. And then, bam! Wow. Because the guy A was getting like really centered, like really, and you could just see it. And then all of a sudden, bam! Well, that's, you know, actors know that. So if you want to do anger, you don't get angry. You get angry, you know.
Yeah.
That's another thing that the kind of rules of acting, which has nothing to do with the real rules of acting, which is the real rules of acting is the truth. That's all.
Mhm.
You just want to make your audience believe that it's real. That's all. So it doesn't matter what you do. They got to believe it. It's got to be real, honesty. But a rule, you know, like a trick rule, like an improv rule for acting is if you can't play drunk because nobody will believe you. They'll see you're acting drunk. Acting drunk is not drunk. It's not
Okay.
acting. Okay. So how you act drunk is you try your damnedest not to be drunk. That's drunk.
So I
Oh, I
should drink
gotcha.
before auditioning for a drunk person.
Yes.
And then try not to be drunk. Do it straight.
Yeah.
And you'll get the job. Because you know, drunk is I'm drunk now, but no, I'm not really drunk.
Yeah.
I'm not drunk.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You ever
Okay.
see Foster Books?
No.
What?
Like,
Yeah, Foster Brooks.
Foster Books. He was the
The classic. I mean, well, he just went over the top, but again, he did it. So you kind of fell into his character, and he pulled it off. And
Yeah,
he
he
wouldn't be
tried not
funny
to be
if you
drunk.
didn't think he was drunk, you know, or the character was drunk.
the character he portrayed was like he was drunk, but he tried He didn't think anybody else thought he was drunk.
Yeah. Yeah. And he was trying to say stuff that was really centered and focused, and he couldn't pull it off. And that was what was funny. A drunk guy trying to act not drunk, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You think I'm not, you think I don't know you're drunk? Is why you're laughing. Yeah, exactly. And the same thing with anger, and a lot of the emotions you can get around by these little tricks of being not, or being too much, or now old Joe, in Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah.
I was just imitating my Uncle Murray. My Uncle Murray was old Joe. He fixed oil burners. He installed oil burners. So he was just like, when he would come home from work, because I used to stay with him. He used to babysit for me. My parents went away for a weekend. I would stay with him and his kids and his wife for the weekend. And he would come home from work, and he would be greasy and really dirty. You'd have to take a shower before he would, eat dinner.
Yeah.
But that's all I needed to know is, that's my Uncle Murray. So I grew up with my Uncle Murray. He babysat me all the way from when I was 5 until we didn't have to babysit anymore. So that was part of me. So that was like an improv. I just did it.
How did that part come about? Did they seek you up specifically and says, Larry, you'd be perfect for this part? Or did you just
go Joe, they just called me, and they said, there was I think this was the trick to that. It wasn't a trick, but it was a little different audition, I remember, because I got a call from my agent saying, what are you doing right now? That was also a red flag. That was a tip off. I'm not going to like the next sentence.
What are you doing right now?
What are you doing right now, Larry?
Yeah.
And I go, now I know, because it was from my agent, so I knew it has something to do about acting that I'm not going to like. Probably somebody got fired, and I have to go to the Valley, which is 45 minutes away.
Do you hate driving?
I lead-footed, If I hop in my car right now, that's why he's asking the question, and zoom out to the Valley on the 405, risking life and a ticket to get to an audition that I really don't want. I need the money for the rent. So what are you doing now? Pretended all that, So he said, what are you doing now?
Yeah.
I'm watching television. What do you want? And he go, okay, you got to get out to the Valley right now. They're closing the audition in an hour. That's 45 minutes away. What do you mean? I'll have to lead-foot it. Yeah. So just drive out there. It's really big. It's for Breaking Bad. Oh, okay, fine, great.
Oh, were you a fan of the show?
Oh man, yeah. Finally, I was a fan of this show. I wasn't a fan of the show in the beginning, but once I saw one show. They said, no, my friends would say, hey, you got to watch this, man. It's really cool. And I watched, I go, wow, man, that is so cool. So when he said Breaking Bad, then I was okay. And I just, on the 405, cops, man. Yeah. And I get there, and the second part of it is get out there right now, because what they're shutting down the audition in an hour. Mm-hmm. Why do I have to lead-foot it, and why can't I go in tomorrow? Because somebody got fired. So in other words, you have to get out there right now because the time is money, and they got to replace somebody. So they got to hire somebody today because you got to shoot tomorrow because the guy was fired today. And they got to save time, man. So that's why you have to get out there right now, and they'll just pick anybody. That's why they're shutting down in an hour. They don't have any time for this, let's get the best one. They don't.
Right place, right time.
Yeah.
So I get out there, and sure enough, when I get to the audition room, there's nobody there, which is a dead giveaway. Somebody was fired. There's nobody else but me. It means we just fired, blah, blah, blah. Get somebody. Who can we get? Call up a casting agent, and they say, Who can you get to fill old Joe? It's a this. Larry Hankin. I'll call that. Boom. And then they just go. I mean, it's just hit or miss. They just call their agent. Get Larry down there. He fits the description. Go. So I get down, and sure enough, there's nobody else there. So I knew somebody got fired, which is not a good way because I become insulted at that point. So now I got an attitude that I got to get rid of to do the character. Oh, you're calling me now because somebody got fired. Why didn't you hire me in the first place? You wouldn't have to fire anybody.
Yeah.
That's the way. So I'm going into the audition now with the chip on my shoulder, So I get in there, and what is there? It's an empty room. It's an empty room. Just a rug, one chair, which they obviously brought in, a tripod with a camera, and some sort of production assistant is running the camera, and that's who I'm auditioning with. So I don't even have anybody to act with, to do the audition, because it helps.
Yeah.
For eye contact, for acting is reacting. It's not acting. You can't act. If there's nothing happening, then you don't do anything. If something's happening, you react to what's happening, not to something you saw last week. You're right. So, if you get a good actor to bounce off of, you can do a really good audition. But no, so she's not even an actress. She's, just an assistant. So I do it, so now my go-to thing is just get rid of everything. That's my go-to. If I go in angry, or if I have a chip, or if I want to get rid of what I'm entering with because I don't like what's going on. I just go to zero. Buster Keaton, that's what his father used to say to him, because he used to be in vaudeville. I read all Buster. I watched all Buster Keaton. He's one of my favorite actors. So his father, when he was like 5 or 6, he would walk on stage. They had a buster act is called. That's why they got his Buster Keaton. They had a buster act. His mother and father. A buster act is tumbling, for trick falls and stuff.
Okay.
Throwing, pretending to fall and not
like
hurt yourself.
Slapstick, right?
Slapstick, yeah. Oh. So they would say to him, zero. And his trick was he was 5, so he couldn't do much. So what they did was they gave him, bib overalls. Yeah, bib overalls. And they had a handle on the back. Now, it looked like just straps to keep the bib up, but really they could grab him by the back. It was reinforced. It was like a handle. And they would say to him, and he would just wander onto the stage. That was his part. He would wander on stage at 5, like to interrupt the act, like there's a married couple doing an act and their child wandered on the stage. It was that kind of setup. So he would wander on the stage, and then his father would say to him, zero. When his father said zero, he would go limp, and he had to stay limp. That was all he had to do. And then his father, but he would stand. He would just stand limp. And his father would pick him up by the back, by the handle. And the scrims they had in the back, these old-timey, one sheet that was the whole stage. And they did it. There was the in one while they changed the stage backstage, behind the curtain, while they changed it to the big act. They were an in one. So they did a buster act, and they said zero. He would go limp, and his father would just fling him into the scrim. Now the scrim would give because it was just a hanging sheet. So he would hit it, and then with a force would go boom, and he would slide down onto the floor. So he would never get hurt. So he'd go boom.
Ooh, it froze on us there. Hold on.
So it was a trick, it was a known trick, and they rehearsed. So, but zero was what I took. I said, if I got too much going into an audition, I would go zero. And I would just get rid of the anger, the frustration of driving fast on the 405 and the ticket and the cop and the insult about, why didn't they hire me? And I just go zero. And that's what I auditioned. So I just went blank. I just did like my uncle, but me, but blank. I don't know. Because
Yeah.
I didn't care at this point. I don't care if I was a fan of the show. I have an attitude problem. I've written a book about it. It's really cool. It's coming out, I think, in January. It's called That Guy.
Did you
Yeah.
finally get a
Really?
publisher?
You got to publish
I
it.
think I'm waiting right now. I'm waiting for a phone call. Right now, I'm going to find out within 24 hours. If I
Oh,
got
nice.
Ooh.
within
Nice.
24 hours.
I did have
A solid yes or no. So
Okay. I had a question for you.
anyway, that's how I auditioned. That's how I got the job. Was not
Okay.
because of anything I prepared. It was all happened then because I went to zero and she taped it. And then she asked me, she said, "Do you want to do it again?" And I just wanted to get out of there. I was like so pissed. I
Yeah.
don't think I could do it again. So I just said, "No, do you want me to do it?" And there was this back and forth over that comedy act. I said, "Do you want me to do it again?" No, she said, "Okay, thank you." And I said, "Is that it?" And she said, "Well, do you want to do it again?" And I said, "Well, do you want me to do it again?" And she said, "Well, if you want to do it again, you can do it again." I said, "I really don't want to do it again unless you want me to do it again. But if you don't want me to do it again, I won't do it again." And she says, "I don't want to do it again." So I said, I don't want to do it again either." So she says, "Okay, you can go." And I left. That's what I remember.
You mentally defeated that poor woman who was just.
So yeah, she was, she was about 20 or something, 18 or 20. They did go upstairs and audition. This guy is coming in to audition. Just get him on tape. That's all.
Were you mad at your manager?
No, because I would get those calls all the time. I was the go-to. Somebody got fired. Get Larry. I would say that 25% of all the roles I've ever done, which according to podcasters is 205. They counted them, and I told them.
Did not know that.
205.
No, I didn't know that either. No.
Yeah, that's a lot. But a quarter of them were, get down there right away. What are you doing right now? The quarter of them were that.
Well, I did have a question.
Well, you had a question.
Yeah. I know that this is an older movie, and you were in The Shadow. It had Alex Baldwin.
I was a cab driver that blew up.
Yeah. You had but Jonathan Winters was on that movie too, and I didn't know if you had a chance to speak with him or do anything with him. I know you got blew up, but
was he in that movie too? Are you saying?
Yeah, Jonathan Winters was
in The Shadow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The reason I ask is no, because in all the movies I've ever been in, I've only been in my scene or scenes, and I've never been through the whole movie. So he wasn't in my scene that day for the explosion. So I only talked to Alec Baldwin. He was the shadow.
Yeah, he was the shadow.
Yeah.
And so no, I wasn't on camera with him, but he was the next shot. It was a night shoot. So he was waiting around to finish my cab scene. So I was with the bad guy. He got in and he sent me into the explosion or something. I don't know how that. I can't remember most of it. So I was with the bad guy, the bad star, the evil guy. And then while I was waiting for them to light my scene, I got to talk to Alec Baldwin, who was waiting for them to light my scene and then his scene, and then he was there.
Okay.
He was pretty young. So I got to talk to him. But that's the only way I get to talk to stars. If they're shooting the day that I shoot or the afternoon or morning that I shoot and they're around. But if they're in the same movie that I'm in, there's a chance that I won't get to talk.
So you take it as work.
He had a cameo part too, because he played the police commissioner, and he only had he had one scene.
Right. So
that's why I was wondering if you actually ran into him, because he's
it's very difficult. There's a lot of times I would have liked to be on the same set. But when I'm on the set with the same with a star or somebody who I believe is a star, to me he's a star, even though he's not. Yeah, I'll go talk to him because I can learn from that. I pay attention to that. I watch them. In other words, I stayed after I was dismissed from my scene on The Shadow. I stayed to watch Alec Baldwin work because I wanted to see how
Oh
he,
yeah.
how he worked. So I stayed around, and it was midnight. He didn't shoot until midnight or something, and I shot around 8 o'clock. So I had to wait a while. You know.
Damn.
But it's worth it. I mean, if you want to be an actor,
Yeah.
what are you going to do? You know,
Yeah. Larry, are you gonna do
am I
comedy?
going to punch you? No, I'm not going to punch
No,
you.
I would gladly let you punch me. It's okay.
No,
I'm gonna help you
no.
relax.
I don't
All I
think
ask
that
in
way. I don't
exchange,
think that way. I don't think.
all I ask in exchange, instead of suing you, just give me one of your paintings. I think
Yeah, that's it.
that's comfortable.
I'd rather punch you. Settled and done. Come
Yeah.
here.
One and done. Boom. Yeah,
Where
there
are you right now? I'll be there. I'll catch an Uber and I'll be right there.
Larry's
Another
got hands
state?
like McGregor. He's like,
Yeah.
I just did you.
No, what was your question?
Do you plan on doing any comedy tours or anything?
Well, if I can get this book published, yeah, I'm waiting. All my friends are right now. I'm on the. That's a really interesting question, and I'll tell you why. It probably doesn't interest anybody, but of people of my ilk. I used to be a stand-up comedian. That's how I started in the business. So I used to do comedy shows.
You used to open for Woody.
Open for Woody, yeah. So and then that died. I came in as the stand-up, the old time stand-up venues were dying out. As television came in and then digital came in, and the 60s, and so the nightclubs were starting to close, and the open mic nights of coffee houses started to close down. They're running out of business, like a lot of places are running out of business now. I don't know that, like restaurants now are running because of the COVID thing. So what happened was I just started to get up some steam as a stand-up comedian, but all my venues all over the United States were starting to close down, even coffee houses and nightclubs. And even arena shows were starting to disappear, only rock and roll. So I started opening for rock and roll shows, and then that started to shut down as the 80s and 90s started to come into play. And by 2000, it was all over. There was no stand-up. So a new thing started, and that was HBO and specials, stand-up specials, where you would rent the theater and then videotape it, and you get your money from HBO.
Richard Pryor did a few times, I believe.
That was past me. That I because I was an actor then, and I didn't have any venues to break in new material. Open mic nights, which were the bread and butter of stand-up comedy, and they were gone. The open mic nights, they're the best thing that ever happened to comedy. Well, now they're starting up again. I see where I live in Santa Monica, old theaters that I used to try out stuff about in 2000, so about 20 years ago, are starting to open now. New owner stuff and painting, but little black boxes. They're not coffee houses. They're dead and gone. But little theaters, black box theaters, seating 50 or 100 people, they're starting to open up because the COVID is people are starting to be audiences again. Then there's being not afraid of, the mask thing. I think. So a black box opened up in my neighborhood that I used to work out stuff in the 90s. They just opened up, and a friend of mine two of my friends are now booking it to do little, an hour show, a half-hour show, whatever. Oh, so I'm thinking of doing comedy again. Yeah, but I need the book that I want published. It's about doing stand-up and my time in show business, and the book was written from the stuff that I was starting to do as everything was shutting down. I was starting to mix in my times as an actor into my comedy act. So I was telling about, hey, I was working with this person and blah, blah, blah. And it was very funny, blah, blah, blah. So well, now I can start to do that, but I haven't done any comedy in so many years, at least 10 years. Have I even thought about stand-up? That now, that book, thank God I wrote all that stuff down, because I never wrote things. I just get up and talk. I wrote all that stuff down for the book. I wanted to do a book, and so I tape recorded my shtick, my hunks, into a tape machine, and somebody typed that out for me. Microsoft has an app now where you can feed in audio tapes, and it will type it out, so you don't have to have a typist. So this guy knew how to do that. So I gave him all my tapes. He typed it out, or Microsoft typed it out, and that was my book. And then I just tweaked it and, retyped, because talking isn't exactly like reading. You have to like tweak it. Because your visual carries through the boring times, the setup. But when you're reading, there's no visual. You got to just cut out the setup. Mainly writing is just punchline, punchline, punchline. I mean, really, if you want to, I've been reading how to write. I just read some of Stephen King's book on how to write. And basically, that's what he said. I mean, he didn't say it that way, but that's how my brain interpreted. He said, get rid of all the useless words and verbiage, which is a really great thing to tell you about writing.
Trimming the fat.
Trim the fat. But trim the fat isn't specific enough. I get it. I know what you're talking about. But saying get rid of all the words you don't need is specific. It's trim the fat. So that's what retyping the typed tapes into a book form is, getting rid of all the extra words. It's a monumental task. It's not easy. So it's called rewriting, editing. So that's why I'm waiting for the book to come out so I can start rehearsing from the book. It's already written down and it's edited, so it's tight. I don't have to, try it out. It's already.
That's good. That's good.
Steely.
Yeah, that's good.
So,
I'd love to see you do stand up.
Yeah, me too. I can't wait, because that's my métier. That's what I do best. Is
you feel like
stand up, man? But there was no money in it anymore when I stopped. I mean, I was doing the Playboy club circuit and stuff. And
wait, what?
The Playboy circuit.
Playboy circuit, yeah.
What's that? That's
so
you know about the Playboy clubs. The Playboy clubs, the nightclubs, the Playboy nightclubs.
I did not fucking know that. I know there was a magazine, and I knew there was a mention.
Yeah. Well, he got so much money that he started opening a nightclub with the bunnies. All the waitresses were dressed like bunnies.
Yeah.
Like fuck me. That they were dressed like fuck me. And
they were.
And he's making a fortune. There's skimpy outfits with ears. No, it's not fuck me. It's a rabbit. It's a rabbit. We got ears.
It's a rabbit.
Yeah, no. It's perfectly fine.
Yeah,
with little
but they're
bunny tails.
all over the U.S. at one time. I mean,
and then he passed it on to his daughter, and then it may be coming back. I don't know, because of the club thing. See, the club thing closed everything, all kinds of nightclubs. Because and then I was cursing. And then Richie Pryor and George Carlin and Lenny Bruce and television, and you couldn't curse on television. And so, but it's coming back, and I want to do it because that's what I'm good at, man. I loved it because first of all, you didn't have to drive like a maniac to the valley to do it.
What is up with you in the valley?
I mean, it's a 45-minute drive just to audition, and it's no guarantee you get it. So you know how many times I had a really high average of getting a job, of not getting a job. I would get a job for every 5 auditions I did. I would get 1 job. That's a huge amount of jobs. Generally, it's 10. You audition 10 times. That's like an average. Audition if you're in the audition type. Now I don't have to audition anymore. They just call me. But I retired. I didn't retire. I dropped out. I just didn't want to do it anymore. It's not fun. It just wasn't fun. It just wasn't. So I don't work for money. I work for fun, and if they pay me a lot of money, that's even more fun. But to do it just for money. So I stopped, but 1 out of 5. So that meant that I have to drive to the Valley twice, maybe 3 times for one job, or
that's 6 hours there and back.
So I had to drive to the Valley for the audition and drive home. Then I have to drive to the Valley for the costume fitting and then drive home. Then I have to drive to the Valley to do the job because they're shooting in the Valley and then drive home. So, I mean, 3 drives to the Valley, and I have to drive plus the other 4 drives to the Valley for the other 4 auditions. So it's 8 drives to the Valley just for one job. See, that's how I break acting down. That to me is acting. How many times do you have to drive to the Valley? I don't want to act. 9 times? No, too much. Not going.
You should live in the Valley. If you lived in the Valley, you wouldn't be.
It would be too hot. I did live in the Valley. I got out of there. It was 105. Are you kidding? I could cook meat on the sidewalk. Never mind an egg. I could cook my dog on the sidewalk.
Jesus Christ. So comedy is what makes you feel like
and acting is the fire in my belly. Now, I mean, I would, when I was a stand-up comedian, my life was what I brought to the stage. I would talk about my day and my girlfriend and the guys and my jobs that I needed to pay the rent while I'm standing here trying to work out material 3 minutes at a time. You have to wait all night to do 3 minutes. In 5 minutes. But then you could run to the next one. See, Greenwich Village was really great because there was I'm not exaggerating, there must have been really 25 coffee houses within a 4-block area in the Greenwich Village in New York. So what you did was you just signed up in each one of those 25 or 10. I mean, I didn't, some of them were too far away, but you would sign up for at least for me, I would do at least 5 to 6 a night. What I would do is I go to the first one, sign up. You just go down the list. So I would see if I was there first, then I would be on first. And then I would go to the next one, sign up. Well, now I'm about 4th or 5th. I'd sign up. And I go to the next one. Well, now I'm about 10th. And then I go to the next one, and now I would go on around midnight. So now I got my 4 gigs. First one, I go on, do 3 minutes, go on, wait about, 10 minutes, go on for 3 minutes, go to the next one, wait about 15 minutes, go on, do 3 minutes. So even though it was 3 minutes, you could work it out in one evening. You could do 5 shows and boil it down each, and you wouldn't have to wait until next week or tomorrow night to go back on the stage and work it again, because I didn't write. I would work it out on stage. So in one night, I could go to 5 different venues, coffee houses, do 3 minutes, and by the end of by midnight, I'd have a 3-minute hunk boiled down a cool minute and a half, or maybe 5 minutes, or I would work it out. And after 2 or 3 weeks, I'd have 20 minutes, all worked out without writing a thing. And I didn't have to drive to the Valley, and I didn't have to change clothes. I could just walk up on stage, whatever I was wearing, and do it. So no writing and no clothes changing and no memorizing lines and no writing. I mean, what a gig. What a good gig. And no money. And no money. Well, that was the other thing. No money also. But
no money.
After a while, I was opening for the Saturday night headliner. Because, there was only Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday were the open mic nights. Then Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, they
shows.
They would do shows, and that's how they made their money. So I can't wait to get back to those days, But for now, I'm a writer now. That's what I do. I'm writing my next book. I'm writing little hunks, little pieces. But writing comedy is very hard, as opposed to doing comedy. If I had to write, we've been laughing here. but I didn't write anything. We just talking. Well, that's how I did my shows. I would just get up and talk about, whatever.
Yeah.
But if I had to write this for you guys, I'd be up for like 2 weeks trying to figure out something funny.
So you got to do something you learn by doing then.
Yeah. The old paradigm that I have is, there's a jungle. It's a circle, a jungle. Mm-hmm. And the rules are, we got a helicopter, one helicopter, one ride. Okay. You have to either get into the center of the jungle and we'll fly you by helicopter and drop you into the center. But you have to get out of the jungle by yourself. So you have to walk out. Or you have to walk into the center and we'll helicopter you out. Mm. So in the way, that was kind of like what I thought about show business and getting in front of people. What is it called? Stage fright. Do I want to get on the stage? And because once I'm on the stage, I'm cool. But I have stage fright going onto the stage.
Oh, leading to? Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be me walking in to a jungle, and the snakes and tigers and elephants. Mm-hmm. But once I get into the center, I'm cool. And then that's fine. The helicopter is, hey, I was successful. I don't have to worry about walking off the stage and out. But walking onto the stage is tension. So that's I always kept that in mind. Is this a helicopter in or a helicopter out? That's how I think about show business.
Well, you start out
it's always the walk in, the drive, the mission to get the job.
But you start out with just improv though, didn't you?
No, when that died, and when I started to do critical thinking, George Carlin, Richie Pryor, Lenny Bruce stuff, mm-hmm. I couldn't do any television anymore. That was right at the end, right when other comedians had used television to become famous, so they could become a headliner. Mm-hmm. I was just starting, and the nightclubs were closing, so I couldn't work it out. And I couldn't get famous, and I was starting to curse also on stage, critical thinking. I was starting to talk about sex, drugs, rock and roll, and religion. That's cursing on stage. That's when I say curse, I mean sex, drugs, rock and rolls, and religion, and politics. You can't talk about that on television back then. Now, as Jon Stewart says, you have to have a curse word in the title of your sitcom to get on television. Schitt's Creek, up Schitt's Creek.
Yeah.
Schitt's Creek. Come on, man. Are you kidding? When I was in the 60s trying to get on television with that, I couldn't get through the door,
Yeah.
Now
it's crazy how times change. But
I couldn't get a job because I would be doing critical thinking. George Carlin, Lenny Bruce, Richie Pryor. So my timing was off, but now it's starting again. Now you can curse now, and sex, drugs, rock and roll, and religion and politics.
I think you'll be really surprised how well you'll do. I'll be really honest.
I think so, but you can't think it. You just gotta do it. That was the whole thing about stand-up. I mean, stand-up it's worse than being a folk singer, because at least you have a guitar to hide behind.
Jesus Christ.
Stand-up, you just gotta. What, a fucking little microphone? You can't hide behind that. I would have people come at me with upside down beer bottles in my hand saying, get off the stage and bring on the Kingston Trio. Really? And he would have, so I got off the stage. I mean, I'm not going to argue with a guy with a beer bottle, man.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah, I would have.
So I quit. I quit is what I did. The bartender, who's the manager also, the bartender said, where are you going? I said, did you see that guy come at me with a beer bottle, man? He says, yeah. I said, well, he was going to hit me, man. So I'm not getting out there until you either talk to that guy or kick him out. I'm not getting back on you. So he says, you have 10 minutes more before the Kingston Trio comes on. You have 10 minutes, get back out there. And I said, I'm not getting back out there. He's going to come at me. No, talk to him. He said, I'm not talking to him. You have 10 more minutes. Get out there or you're fired. And he said, and I said, you can't fire me because I quit. And he said, okay, you're fired. I said, I quit. And I walked out, and that was it. I mean, to me, I don't give a fuck. I really just don't. If you're going to threaten my life, it's not a laugh. Isn't worth it.
Yeah, it's
don't
not.
care,
It's not
man.
worth. Yeah.
I don't
Especially
care. I don't care if the Kingston Trio. I don't care if it's Donald Trump, man. I don't. I don't know. It could have been Trump coming at me with the beer bottle. I don't know, but whatever it was, I'm not getting it. So yeah, I just stopped doing it, and then that's how I got into act. I got into improvising.
Yeah.
My manager, who was Woody's manager, he said, "Well, join Second City. They're doing the same thing as Pryor and Lenny, but they own the theater, so nobody can come at you with a beer bottle." And then he said the most ridiculous thing, but he thought he was serious, I've ever heard. He said they own the theater, so they'll kick the guy with the beer bottle out. And anyway, the stage is 3 to 4 inches high, and you have three other people on stage with you improvising, so they can fight him off with you while he's trying to hit you with the beer bottle.
Fight him off, Jesus. It's nice to see
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Well, yeah. It doesn't
It's
matter.
nice.
You have friends on the stage with you. He can't climb up on the stage. Don't worry about it.
Nice to see that violence against entertainers isn't something new.
Yeah, it was nice
Well,
to see that he was thinking of my health. I don't worry
Yeah.
about it. The stage is 4 feet high. He can't climb up. If he has a
Yeah.
beer bottle in his hand, how is he going to climb up? See?
Yeah. You just improv, you're a gang, and
Yeah. Improv, a guy coming up and coming at you with a beer bottle. What is that? Well, it's hot in here. I'm getting so hot.
It's been awesome having you, brother.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Hey, what are you going to do with my paintings?
Honestly, you talked about those two in the back, and we talked
Oh,
about
okay,
them
cool.
back before, but nobody could see them. Now they'll be able to see them. So I'm really glad that you talked about those in detail, because last time you didn't talk about all those details you just said.
Oh,
You had given us some sort of stuff. Man, thank you so much for doing this. Can you let everybody know what the name of your upcoming book is? And we should know.
It's called That Guy. There is a book now out that I wrote called The Loopholes Dossier. It's on Amazon, but it's only in hardcover, and it's really expensive. It's $23 or something. It's ridiculous. I mean, to buy a hardcover book is kind of, I don't know, but there's no other way to get it. If you have Kindle, it's only $2.99, I think.
oh, okay. So
You get Kindle.
go to
You have to
Kindle
get Kindle.
and okay.
And it's called The Loopholes Dossier, and it's on Amazon. But it's just short stories. I just wrote a whole bunch of short stories. They're really funny, but they're critical thinking stories. They're
Nice.
about sex,
Okay.
drugs, rock and roll, or politics and religion. It's all in there. But they're short stories. So that's out there, but I don't talk about that much because it's so expensive, the hardcover. But $2.99 for the Kindle. But That Guy is because everybody says, "Oh, you're that guy, from Breaking
Yeah.
Bad. Oh, you're that guy from Seinfeld." So I thought I'd call it that. Yeah, but it's my life in show business. It's really good. I recommend it highly. But it won't be out until I get the publisher, and I'll find out in the next 24 hours.
I
So
know
by
you'll
the
get
time I do the next show, you'll know. Okay.
Oh, I know
Yeah.
you'll get it, man.
Yeah,
Larry,
definitely.
you're always a hoot to have. Stick around, and to everybody listening, join us on Patreon.
Yes.
Join us on Patreon.
Well, I'm going to be on Patreon too. Wow. So I got to talk to you guys. Well, I'll have my people talk to your people.
Yes.
Ooh,
Definitely.
yes. There's
About
always something to
Patreon.
talk with you, Larry.
How is Patreon? Is that pretty cool?
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love it. I love it.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Well, good.
I
Good.
love it.
Because we have people now.
And what do you? What's the name of your Patreon show?
Rico Podcast.
Oh, Rico Podcast. Okay, I'm
That's
going to get on it. I'm going to look it up. Okay,
Nice.
cool. Okay, I'll see you guys. Bye.